Welcome back to Marwood's Customs. This is part 3 of our Aroura AFX G Plus build. We have got our bodies done. These guys here, this is the body I'm going to use when we're done. So these cars, like I said before, like every time I build them, it seems like they sell and they're gone and out of here. So again, this is for the beginner, and it's for the person who wants to try and save as many parts as they can. So let's just deep dive right into this. Start going through our parts. This is gonna fall, and I already know what's gonna happen. I don't know if those are like a Hot Wheel box or something, but they're good for parts if you put tape on the bottom. But obviously, like our tires, our rears, I kind of pulled these out of my used tire bin, not like used the ones that I strip off the cars, but these may have a few laps on them or whatever. So rear tires were good. We're gonna go ahead and check our rear wheels. And I showed you before, when you put this up against a new wheel, how much brighter it's gonna be. That's just common sense if you put anything new up against something old. But the biggest problem is the foam and the glue they use to foam. And I personally, I can actually just look through the hole and tell you that this is kind of garbage. So, but for sake of argument, we'll pull our little wheel box out here, and I'll grab a new stock yellow versus old, so you'll kind of get the idea of why I want to go with these. Same, I think it's 6 spoke, 7 spoke. Nope, they're 6. Okay, so your same 6 spoke wheels, front and rear. So if you're going to do the rear, you might as well do the front. If you want to reuse your old wheel, as long as it's not cracked, you can do that. So feel free to go that route if you choose to. There's our front. Dig around. There's the yellow rear. Okay. Starting to run low. You know, these wheels come, by the way, from Slot Car Central. You can get like every color known to man. And I even have some old BSRT white wheels with brand new tires that were just gifted to me. But I'm looking in this box, they're in a drawer, and I've got a set in there. So it's kind of too bad we're not using the white. Those would be pretty cool to use. And those are a 5-lug wheel, the reproductions that they did back in, let's say, 2010. And I've got white wheels, seem to be the I did a reorder of them. So, but they do come in every color, just so you know. So pause that, pick a color, and just go on slotcarcentral.com. So we know we're good with rear tires, wheels. We're going to use new for the front. So the next thing I want to do is I want to check my magnet strength. And we've done videos on magnet strength where we pit these up against the new Pro 4 magnets from Viper, for example. And I misspoke in my video. It's JP products, and it's called the Magnet Force. I said J products. You guys haven't figured out by now that YouTube is like, it's not that I don't like YouTube. It's I'm not a real techie person, so you kind of get what you get, but I try to explain this stuff the best I can to help you, the beginner, to the intermediate, or someone who just is watching and going, hey, I didn't know that. I mean, I do the same things. So anyway, we got a reading of 69.4 on our they weren't very good at marking these, and then 44. So we're going to go to our G Plus magnet area. Because I do strip these down, and the one thing I don't do is look at the magnets and say, test them, put them in a tube. It's because I have the Viper stuff now. So we're way off though. You want that balance. It's got to be pretty close. So we have 67 and we have 65. So let's just go ahead and use this set of magnets. Now, if this is all you have, then go ahead and use it. But ideally, you know, if you have two magnets, one's a 35, and let's make it even easier. One's a 30 and the other one's a 60. Are they going to pull the armature evenly? The answer is no. So these I don't even want to keep them because I just don't. I have way too many of those. But we'll go ahead and use this set, and this set's marked, and the way they're marked, I actually know what these are. These are kind of what got me started in the hobby. Let me make sure I got this right. So there's little tabs that you can see, and you want those to go up. So on this magnet, I'll place those up, and see the white paint on this one, and this one has no paint. These were Wizard Zapped magnets, so I just happened to stumble across them on eBay, and I bought all of them. So it's kind of what I started with. So I mean, if you want to compare real quick, we'll just go with the Pro 4 from Viper and give you a difference. So where were we at? About 69 or so. So just to give you a difference in strength, you're at 133 now with the Pro Force. So, but because we're doing what we call a budget build and trying to save everything that we can, so 132, 134. So they do a pretty good job. I know I matched up all the Pro 10s, but they do a really good job of pre-matching the magnets. So those are part number 22900. If you want to order them from Viper Scale Racing, you can get new shoes, shoe springs, and I think that's about it. And then either the Pro 4 or the Pro 10 magnets. Don't do the Pro 10s unless you really know what you're doing. And I haven't really, this is like why I'm doing YouTube now, is to just focus on this for now and get through dyno videos and stuff like that. So the first thing we'll do is look into, you know, can we save what we have? Very minimal wear on these shoes. They're what you call a tip shoe, whereas the car rides on the tip of that as opposed to going down the full length on the rail. And these aren't the greatest, but we'll go ahead and use what we have. So there's nothing wrong with them. Next we'll look at our crown gear, and it doesn't look bad. One thing I like to do is take a razor, because you probably don't see it, and I may have already done this, but when you push an axle through, sometimes the big glob of the babysitter's hair will stay in there. So those are good. Our motor band is good. We have our pin for the front wheel, another pin, those are good. And we'll get to our motor in a second. These plates we're gonna call question mark as of right now, and I'll get to that in a second. Our pin is the wrong pin. That's for an AFX magnet traction, non-magnet traction, so we'll get a proper piece put in. It looks like our brush springs at some point might have been changed, because I'm looking at both the brushes. There's not much wear on these, and there was a document I posted on my Facebook. They are an aftermarket. Yeah, these shoes actually wore, or brushes, sorry, wore really well, and you can see there the little slit in them. Normally your stock stuff's gonna have a nipple, so these seem to wear okay. So I say we save the springs and get rid of the brushes. Trash. The barrels, obviously, we can clean and reuse. So get that away from the magnet. Get our magnets, they can snap together. We have one shoe spring, but not to worry. I can handle the part of don't lose them, I guess, is the main thing. So we'll get those in here. It might be in there. It's, like I said, a little Hot Wheels tray or something. But we'll just start with, wait a minute. I just thought I seen it. Maybe it's just me. Get our shoes in there. Our front axle pin, our brush, and then our bearings. As you can see, you're always 9 times out of 10 gonna have a smaller hole and then a larger hole. And that larger hole is always gonna go towards the front, and then in the case of the back of the motor, it's gonna go towards the back. And we'll get into that. So right now I just wanna put some headgear on and check this motor before we even get to checking ohms or anything. And I just want to look at, let me get in here where you can see too, this little washer guy doesn't have to come off necessarily. If it does, it does. We have, try not to lose that, but they want you to clean in between here. And when they mean that, like, if you just seen how much I just took off, that's what they mean by clean that. Don't like gouge it with a razor. Some of them you're gonna pull apart are gonna be funky and full of oil and hair. And this one actually don't look all that bad. But what I will do is inspect our pinion gear, which looks pretty good. Looks like it needs to come in a little when we do the reinstallation, but I'm gonna pull this plastic washer for now, set that in there. Let's check the ohm reading. If you just have an ohm meter, that's okay. You can take a piece of wood, drill a hole, pull your pinion and bearing off. Simply by pulling, and stick this, you know, in a hole in a piece of wood. That's what I used to use, and then now I have a way to touch across the 3, 2 at a time, to see what my ohm reading is. But I did step up in the world. I got this on, I think, on eBay as well. Let's try not to have any catastrophes. Let's see, here it is. It's a real simple way to check your ohms on your, across your motor. I did learn how to pause. All right, so these are pretty easy. You just line up where you cleaned between your commutators, snap it in. We're right about 6.5 ohms, and you're just gonna spin it 2 more times. You're gonna spin it around to that next break on the commutator, 6.3 and 6.2. So basically you have a stock motor, your stock run-of-the-mill Aroura G Plus motor. So we're all good there. It's totally reusable. While I have the headgear on still, actually there's a little like just dirt and stuff, so I would kind of want to brush that, and then we want to clean the commutator as well. So I wish there was a much shorter way to kind of show you guys how to do all this stuff, but truthfully it'd be cheating, and number one, and number two, it's not going to do you any good. I mean, I wish I had videos like this when I got into the hobby, and had we had videos like this when we were kids, we wouldn't have shot 7,000 springs across the room and been walking back and forth to our local hobby shop. So who's laughing? Because we've all been there. These were my favorite car. When they came out, I immediately just bailed on the Magna Traction stuff because I like these better. So all I'm doing is gently brushing in between your motor plates, your armature plates, just kind of getting any debris. I'm trying to stay away from those wires as much as humanly possible. And then I did wipe the commutator down a little bit. There's com drops, and you could obviously try to polish that if you wanted, but for a stock build, I don't see that it's very necessary. So we're gonna reach in the drawer O chassis and do a little inspection on this one, because this is the one that, this is actually a brand new, was gifted to me. It's from BSRT, and it was in a bag and brand new. And I will use this on our Pro 4 build, but I don't want to use it for the stock build. Probably because I drive so many of these so much that it's not necessarily usable. So we can start the process of installation. And the reason I set those guys aside, let me get them in film here, is we're gonna know if they're usable or not once we get to the point where we're putting them in. And I'll go through that with you. I've done other videos about it, but those were brand new. So let's just go ahead and get our parts kind of dumped back out here. Anything that's dirty, just, you can clean it. I just noticed the rear bearing is dirty. 70%, not 91. My bottle says 91, but I don't use that anymore. So I think it's 70% alcohol, and then my other one is diluted. So, but you really can just take a hobbyist Q-tip or even a toothpick, actually, and get in there and clean these. You can even spray some of the alcohol through there if you had to. These actually aren't, they're dirty, but they're not gross. So if you've ever been on my Marwood's AFX on Facebook, you'll see the polished version of these cars that I do, and they're kind of like art on wheels, man. I take a lot of pride in don't share my secrets. I just that's the one thing I don't mind showing people how to do certain things, but when it comes to the polishing stuff, it's like I don't want to give that away. No, it's not a Dremel tool, and no, it's not brass all or anything like that, but that stuff looks like jewelry when it's done. And so go take a look at that if you get a chance. So for now, let's get a bearing in, and like I mentioned before, look at both sides. You'll see which side is smallest, and you want that facing inward. And we're going to grab our pinion gear that we took off, slide that on. I'm actually going to push it. Let me pull that out a little, just a smidge. So in the G Plus cars by Aroura, they didn't do a rear bushing of any kind. So we got the goods in here still. Still got a few parts in there that didn't want to come out. For now, it's okay. So just gonna slip this one back over the front. I like these towards the front as much as possible. Sometimes they are needed in the rear, but when you're oiling the car, it kind of helps in some ways prevent that. So, but if you lay your chassis out, I guess the first thing we're gonna do is put the rear axle in place. So let me get some of this stuff over here out of our way. I'll be right back. All right, we're back. Learning how to pause. So we're gonna do our rear axle. Which I have kind of a lot of new ones. So we use an unpolished new. I do have the crown gears as well, but I don't think that's necessary. Again, this is kind of geared towards the person that just wants to get their car running. So with the help of scale engineering, I can't like emphasize this enough. Buy the tools. If you're doing Viper and Hardin Creek stuff, you know, the Hardin Creek tools are perfect for that, and you'll see them in my videos for when they're needed. But I have this kind of set for the G Plus, which is pretty much the car I work on the most. So I actually have two different arbors. I just need to quickly change this one over, and then we'll get to work. So this tool is so cool. It's got a stopper nut on the back of it, so if you're trying to line up a gear with the G Plus stuff, or really anything, and you're doing multiples of them, that's the way to go. So scaleengineering.com, I think, and you have to get with Jim, I believe his name is, and kind of tell him what you want. Don't buy this stuff on eBay. You're giving away your money. So anyway, we're gonna put this where the white magnet, and I actually got these backwards, so we need to flip them. These flux plates are what gives you your magnetism on the track. So you want the flat part down. So just flip those over, and your north magnet, or the white one, if it's red and the other one has nothing, then red is north, that sort of thing. But your white magnet usually is north. Like with Viper, it'll be silver. And then once you get into their Neo stuff, which is a whole nother conversation for another time, they'll be marked a different way. So what we want to do now is to get this gear in. You literally can set it in place, and you want to push it in from this side, and you'll see the two little nubs in there where it rides, and you can go ahead and push it by hand, kind of as far as it'll go, in this case all the way through. So we're going to change that gear, so that's a problem. So if that's stripped like that, pitch it, start over. Grab a new crown gear. And you want to just set that in like I said earlier. Doesn't have to be perfect right now. And come in from this other side and get that about that snug. And we'll get this lined up here. So this is where you want to make sure that this is aligned and centered. And you'll kind of know as you push the gear through, it's going to stop or smash into the side of the chassis. So you start by trying to eyeball it. And we're going to go back this out a little bit. Bit more until that smooth part of that axle is riding on the hole, pretty much center. And once you pull it off, you'll realize that I'm a moron and I went too far. It was right, I went too far. So you just turn it around. I'm not going to stop filming. If I make mistakes, I'm not going to be that guy that, so let's take 5,000. So lesson learned. And you can see it's not going anywhere because it's not lined up. There's no science to this, guys. Like, there's no manuals, there's nobody really doing the G Plus stuff that I'm aware of. I think I went too far again because I was talking, which is fine. We'll blow out another crown gear together. Okay, now the smooth part again goes on the rear end like so. Now at this point, if you want to put your rear wheels on, you can. I'm not gonna. I always like to do the wheels last and make sure my hands are clean and all that great stuff. You don't want oil all over your tires and all that kind of stuff. So the next thing that I want to do is probably put the motor in, armature. And again, north always goes with the crown gear. Doesn't matter what kind of car it is. Easy, like rule of thumb way to remember. So you just want to get this started. I got one guy wanting to go in, another one not. And we'll grab our bearing, same thing, smaller part of the hole towards the front or towards the armature. Because as that wears, it'll become a bigger hole. I don't know if AFX did that on purpose. I've pulled them apart to see 2 whopped out holes. I've seen 2 small holes, and then I've seen 1 of each brand new old stock. So I don't know the answers. I really wish we could talk to the people that got to build this stuff more today in 2025, but pretty much just kind of snaps all into place. There's no need to lube anything right now. You don't need to put your motor band on yet or anything like that, but you can check your play, see how it feels. The way these are designed, your end-to-end play is already preset by the gear, the crown gear. So there's really no way to like mess that up. If you cram that like I did earlier, it would not, the motor wouldn't even have gone in. So next thing we want to do is gather up our parts for putting in our brush barrels, and that's where we're going to know if these guys are any good or not. Plastic tweezers. The reason I like to use plastic, non-magnetic, as opposed to my decal style. I like to get those straight, and I know they're gonna turn. It's just a like up to you kind of thing. Get our barrel spring in, and our next one is hidden in the Hot Wheels box, stuck to the tape. Gonna throw that shoe spring in there for now. And then our other spring is right here. Like I said, these were relatively clean, so why not reuse them? Like I said, I pitch as I strip these cars. I don't look at any of that stuff. So everything I have that I normally use is new. So again, patience with this stuff, because sometimes things will go right in for you and other times they're not. They're not going to be your friend. I have some new in the package brushes, and they all have a nipple on them from Aroura. These have the little slit, so I don't see anything. I haven't had any issues with them when it comes to stock builds, and then the Pro 4 builds, they're okay to use. If you go mild with it, if you decide to go wild, that's a whole nother story. So we'll get into that in another video. But here's the part everybody dreads. But what I like to do is take this back plate, and I'm going to bend it towards you, towards the camera, and just ever so gently give it a bend, and then again bring the work up to you, and it may go right in or it may fall apart on us. You can push your spring in and get that down and get your brush up against the commutator. You can grab a flat blade screwdriver and set this down and snap it right into place. So that one was reusable, so fingers crossed, right? Because things right now are not getting any cheaper for us. I know when people inquire about cars through me, like how much to do a repair or anything like that, it's like it's not really that it's a lot, it's just that it's a lot for these like parts like these, because they're not available at every hobby shop. So I didn't know that actually, because when I started in the hobby, I went online, and the first place I found happened to be Slot Car Central, and they had everything. And so for over a year, I didn't bother shopping anywhere else. Again, we're gonna bend just ever so gently, bend that tab just a little bit. If you happen to notice any cracks or anything in that tab, it is no good. I'm gonna tell you that right now. So I just need to flip that around. No problem. I had it going the wrong way. You didn't think they were gonna go in easy like that for you, did you? Like I said, sometimes these go in like super smooth, and then there's other times they're not. They're not happy with you. So, but we didn't have any idea about these things when, I mean, imagine being like a 7 or 8 year old little kid trying to put this together. And we were able to do it. It was just crazy to think like how much the technology at that time had evolved from pancake motors to these. So they were kind of cool. So another way, in this case, because we have a spring that's shooting the brush out, is get that set in there. And I like to work rather fast and move out of the way, make sure that everything's good to go and aligned. And I can see that that's not quite where I want it. Everybody has special tools for special things, and this is mine. I just want to bend that a little bit, and that's going to help align our shoe brush, up to the motor. And then when you look on the back here, you'll see that they both need to come forward now. So I'll kind of give you, we got some stronger magnets, huh? That's what I was saying about these Wizard magnets, was that they were pretty strong. Prior to the Viper stuff coming out, I had a magnet I could work with lower ohm rating motors. So you basically want those about where they're at, nice and straight. So you're kind of in the home stretch now. Once you get those in, I mean, give yourself a hand. The wheels are not that hard. At this point, I like to just start the process of lubrication. We're gonna get this done on the same day that we did the decal, so we won't be able to put this on the body. I like to let that ceramic set up 24 hours. But right now, at least get our motor kind of lubricated. I don't want to lube the axles until the end, because we're going to be working around the wheels and stuff, so we can kind of flip that over. And since I only had one shoe spring, and I'm actually not we'll keep them for the sake of the video, but these are not my favorite shoes on the planet, so look in the shoe box here. Grab some tweezers. We'll get this guy, and we'll get this guy. I have a tube of them, but I'm trying to use stuff up that's loose. It's new, but it's just in there loose or whatever, so if you can grab the edge, just kind of set that guy in there. And same thing over here, just kind of get them set in for now. If they fall out, it's okay. It happens. Thing I don't like about these is when you go to put this on an inspection block and roll it back and forth and see what kind of line you're getting from a 14 thousandths rail, which is kind of the middle of the road average. You're not getting it, you're just getting it on the tip, which ideally, I mean, with a stock car, it's really not that big of a deal. So we'll go ahead and reuse them. It's another thing about bending and tweaking those. They have different names. It depends on the day and the person that's answering the question. If you're new and you ask that question, like, what are these? That plate that we put on over the motor brush is great. This is the bottom of it, and you know where all your electrical current happens is right here. So if that doesn't want to go like lay down for you, take your little flat blade razor and kind of pop it in. I'm not liking the way that went in. Let's try it again. Okay, so you just want to make sure back here that those went around so that you have nice shoe tension. It's balanced feeling. Everything looks great. So we need to find a guide pin. Doop-a-doop-a-doop. This whole drawer is G Plus parts. So what's this drawer here? I actually don't even have a drawer marked pins, which is weird. Bunch of pre-built axles. What do we got here? What I used to have is an entire drawer of new old stock. I'll just borrow one. We will borrow one. You can just put your finger and hold your shoes in place and get this up here like so. And take your finger or your fingernail and just push. It shouldn't be any kind of craziness to get that to push in. And now you are at the part where you're ready for wheels. So I'm gonna pause and get everything ready. Okay, we're back. So I've got the press for getting the rear wheels on. When I normally nip the axles, but that's just something we'll do with the Pro 10 stuff, and I'll show you in a later video. But you can, around your circular part, at least get the wheel up to the beveled edge. that helps with alignment quite a bit. If I end up switching tools, it's because sometimes the Harden Creek tool helps when you're going to put on the second wheel. So ideally you just want to push that right up until, I mean, there's like a smidge of space between the two. So get that unrolled. So if you see me turn around, I'm not going to pause it again. Same thing, you want to roll it around the, and these new updated wheels have a single flange, so you don't have to worry about the tires walking into, I think we can do it with this one. Choose the same flange and we'll push through with a pin. Again, these tools aren't that expensive. I highly recommend them. There's a lot of people that are new to the hobby and they see the ones on eBay that are like your cheap Chinese stuff, and for like $25 more you can get a set from Harden Creek. There's a wheel puller. I think there's 2 other tools, so pretty much everything you kind of need to get started. You don't have to go as far as I do, but I do a lot of custom wheels, so I need to have, you know, when you need to have it, basically you need to have it. So hope I'm getting this for you to see on camera. It's like wanting to lift, so I really want to eyeball that. There's no simple way for me to show you how to put these on, and that's why these wheels show up cracked and have issues, because there's just no simple way around it, like pliers or whatever. But this is why I nip my axles. I don't like them sticking out of my wheels. Barely sticking out over there. I'm just gonna go ahead and pull this out a little, because that one pushed the other kind of right up against it. Not a fan of that, so I'm not even gonna push that out. I just wanted to pull that wheel out a little bit. So we're almost at our point of tires, and by that time I mean like we can put our motor clip on now. These motor clips, if yours is bent and you want to know how to do it, you know, repair it, rebend it, because I do a lot of, like I said, polished versions of these, and I flatten all this stuff when I polish it, so including the plates. I have some new old stock stuff that's copper and silver, so it just depends on what it is, but if I can reuse it, I'll actually pretty close to flatten it and then rebend it if I know that it's not been, that's not happened 1,000 times to it or whatever. So you are on your way almost to having a complete car. The play in these front wheels, like some people like it really, they like them really loose, remembering that these came from AFX that way, but once you put a little lube on that wheel, in 10 laps, it's going to be extremely loose. It's not going to fall off, but it's going to be really loose. So I kind of put mine in a little more on the snug range, and then just kind of work them around. And once I get lube in there, that thing's gonna really take off. So give me 1 second here and I'll wash my hands with alcohol. We can go ahead and at least get the rear tires put on. Once again, I appreciate you watching. Like and subscribe. Send me $12 million and all that great stuff, whatever. So, like I said, I do this guy for you guys. I do it because I love it. I love our hobby. I want to share the hobby. I hope you want to share the hobby. Help the hobby grow. And the only way to do that is by helping each other. Now, I know I'm sorry I don't reveal all my secrets of things that I do, but who really does? If it's something crazy, like you really want help with or whatever. But these tires are silicone, and they're from Racer 8888 on eBay. You can just type in AFX Aroura G Plus rear tire. And he does sell the fronts as well. I just don't have tires out here today. It's close to 100 degrees. So I had to run in for the tools, actually, to get the tools. So I'll take that stuff in, but kind of give you an idea here of what we're gonna look like, or what we're looking like. So we're almost there. Pretty cool looking car. When I first got back into the hobby, I thought this was the giveaway car. And I was wrong. It was Tyco who gave that car away. So I must have been in the hobby a little longer. I did tell you I'd paint some things, so I did be under the roll bar with a yellow dot, and then I painted his head. Try and get that in focus. I just did red stripes instead of the red ball that they put up on top of his head, but we'll get that apart in the next video, and front tires on it, and we will get this beauty up on a dyno and get some numbers. Thank you for watching. Thank you for hanging out with me. Like and subscribe. Tell your grandma, tell your friends. Marwood's Customs out, man. Take care, everybody.